Good morning, everybody. This is Scott. I know I typically go second, don't I? Welcome to Half and Half. And if you had a chance to check out the chat, you'll see we're going to cover the third leg of balance. And so I have my tripod here, which might be hard to see because of the cat. Now it's easier to see. And this little tripod right here, as the name would suggest, tripod, it has three legs and it stands up quite steady. And if I was to take any of those three legs and remove it, then the little tripod wouldn't stand up nearly so well. And it doesn't really matter which leg, if any of the three legs is missing, then the little tripod can't stand up. And this tripod imagery really holds true when it comes to bipedal balance. We have three streams that feed our brain information to tell us where we are in space, specifically where we are in the vertical axis. And that's foundational for balance. And so those three legs of the human balance tripod is going to be vision, vestibular sense, and proprioceptive sense. And we've worked a bit with vision, that you're constantly scanning the horizon to determine where the vertical is. And so as our vision oftentimes decays as we get older, oftentimes a hit to the balance. Well, thankfully, that's not the only stream of information. We also have vestibular sense, the inner ear. We've talked at length about that the inner ear often gets kind of crusty, if you will, as you age. But if we keep moving and specifically putting your head in many different orientations with respect to gravity, then you keep that system nice and juicy and motile and functional. And so that can be a huge benefit for balance. And then the third of the three legs is going to be proprioception. And proprioception is knowing where your body is in space. And that's actually a really simple thing for us to do. We just have to do it. And that's what we're going to spend a lot of time here in this session is exploring proprioception. So let's begin on hands and knees. And then once you're on hands and knees, if you feel comfortable doing so, close your eyes. And then with your eyes closed, bring awareness to your feet. And no need to do anything with or to your feet. Simply feel the floor beneath the tops of your feet, any of the sensations of the air contacting the soles of your feet. And this is really all there is to proprioception. To strengthen the neural pathways, feeling your body. And now the same with your hands. Ideally with your eyes closed, so rather than seeing your hands, feeling the sensations of hands on floor. And if the weight feels evenly distributed, noticing that. And if the weight feels perhaps a little asymmetric or asymmetrically, aware of those sensations. So now let's shift to yoga pose head down dog, lifting your knees and your hips. And you could keep your eyes closed if you'd like, or if you prefer, you could open your eyes. And the same inquiry, what, if any, sensations in your hands? What, if any, sensations in your feet? And we're simply practicing feeling your body. Feeling your body, aware of your body, is really the essence of proprioception. So then stepping your feet forward up to your hands, moving into gorilla position. Few breaths here. And let your head hang. Remember, this is also so good for your vestibular sense. And then rolling up, mobilizing your spine as you roll up, up, and down. The brain-body relationship is bidirectional. I can send signals from my brain to my body to control movement. And they're the signals that come from body to brain that tell the brain this is where your body is. And it's the latter that we work to strengthen to help improve balance. Proprioception from body to brain. So let's explore that. Step your feet wide apart. Turn your left foot in, then your right foot out. And then bend your bend your right knee and straighten it. Bend and straighten. So one of the things we see in modern movement, especially in yoga and to a lesser extent Pilates, is that it's mainly a flow from brain to body. Do it this way, a line like this. Don't do it that way. But best you can, set that downflow, downstream control aside and bring awareness to your feet. Aware of whatever sensations are present, both in your right foot and also your left foot. And please don't try and fix anything or align anything. Simply aware of whatever sensations, moment by moment, arise. So next time that knee in the bent position, pause there. So in many respects, strengthening proprioceptive sense, the third of the three legs of the balanced tripod, is really a mindfulness practice. The practice being aware of sensations without necessarily trying to change them. So now from here, tip your hips. Bring hand to knee, hand to hip, and settle into the diagonal. And as you gaze straight ahead, without fixing, changing, shifting, adjusting, sense your left foot, how it contacts the mat or the floor, where the weight is and isn't. That's it. That's strengthening proprioception. Now let's add a little intrigue. Bring your left arm forward and through. Then a little turn to look inside your armpit up at the ceiling. And the same inquiry. What, if anything, do you feel in your left foot? Come on up and back to the front. Second side. Turn your right foot in, left foot out. Left knee, slowly bend, slowly straighten, bend, and straighten. Up and down like that. Proprioception isn't just your hands and feet. Next time your knee in the bent position, let's pause there for a bit. And more often than not, when we hold here for a while, people report sensations. Some people report, oh, I feel a stretch or a pull in the back leg. If that's true for you, simply feeling those sensations is strengthening that body-brain connection. And many people report that in time they start to feel the thigh muscle in the bent leg. And if that's your experience, simply dropping into that sensation of those sensations. Especially as we get older, the connection from body to brain becomes like an overgrown trail. We want to clear that trail so the signals can pass readily. Whatever sensations you may or may not be feeling, now tip your torso, hand to knee, hand to hip, and settle into the diagonal. It can be so tempting for top-down control to dominate. As best you can, bring awareness to your back foot. And if the weight feels even, notice that. If the weight feels uneven, notice that. And letting those signals from the periphery unobstructedly go to your brain. Then bring your right arm forward and through. Take a little peek up at the ceiling. And breathe. Come on up. Turn back to the front. And then step your feet together. So as you stand, what do you feel in your feet? Now, did you just do something with your feet? Maybe lift your toes or do this thing or that thing? Let your feet relax without doing anything in your feet. Can you feel them? All right. Now, letting your feet fully relax, sink into the floor. Then bring both arms forward. And now raise both arms up. And breathe. You feel some sensations in your body? I'm not going to hold a heck of a lot longer here. Whatever sensations you may feel, whether feet or shoulders, simply feel. And then arms down. Now let's make our way to the floor. Start with an inhale. Inflate your upper back. And exhale, arms up. Inhale, fold, roll your spine down. Exhale, gorilla. Remember how good this is for vestibular sense. And then inhale, step back. Back to yoga pose, head down dog. In your choice, eyes open or eyes closed. And feeling whatever sensations arise. Whether hands or feet, shoulders or legs. Helping to pave the bumpy road, connecting body to brain. And then come on down to your knees. And to sitting. Let's start in a crossed legs position. If your knees are really high up or you're tipped back, sit up on something. Up to and including a chair. Perfectly okay to sit in a chair. And whether sitting on the floor or a chair, or split the difference sitting on a cushion. What sensations are you feeling? But very often we're in our head and we're sort of sensing something way off at a distance, remote sensing. See if you can drop right into the sensations. Right. So vision, we've done some work with that. Vestibular sense, the inner ear, we've done some work on that. Third leg of the balanced tripod is to hone your proprioceptive sense. It takes practice. So let's do a little bit of a twist. Twist to your right. Bring your left hand across, right hand behind. And there's a lot that we can do to maximize the benefit. How you turn, where you turn from, what you hold steady, what you move. Best you can, relax any of that effort. And simply feel whatever sensations you feel. And this was actually what yoga was up until probably about the mid-1960s. And then it radically changed course, particularly from the mid-70s onward. Back to the middle. And then twist to the other side. Right hand comes across, left hand behind. So let this spinal twist be a sensation generator. And then the inquiry is to feel what you feel. Rather than our brain far distant, removed from the body, drop down right into your body. First-hand direct experiencing. And then come on back to the middle. Now here in the middle, if you're sitting on the floor or cushion, notice what leg is in front. In my body, it's my left leg's in front. I'm going to park that memory in the memory banks. So now let's move to our backs. Knees bent, feet flat upon the floor. And your choice, eyes open or eyes closed. And sensing the floor contacting your back. And just like we've done with the feet, we've done with the hands, let the sensations be as they are. So if something feels asymmetric or lopsided, notice those sensations. And then if you closed your eyes, open your eyes. And now let's move into a shoulder bridge. Start by pressing your lower back into the floor. And once you feel your lower back pressing into the floor, have you noticed what happened in your pelvis? Did you notice that it tipped backwards? It's called a posterior pelvic tilt. So maintain that posterior pelvic tilt as you roll your spine up. See if you can mobilize your spine segment by segment. And then once your hips are up in the air, shoulder bridge. Ask the open question, what, if any, sensations bubble up into awareness? Maybe your feet or your shoulders, maybe your thighs, or the feeling of the floor beneath your head. All of it is proprioception. So maintaining that posterior pelvic tilt. And now roll your spine down, segment by segment, vertebra by vertebra, coming down. And then coming up to sitting. So in sitting, take your legs out in front. Your knees may or may not straighten. So whether your legs are straight or a little bit bent, asking that same question, what sensations bubble up into awareness? Practicing feeling your body, that's proprioception. So now let's make a movement, go into a position using that as a sensation generator. Rounding your spine, spine flexion. Bring your hands maybe to knees or to shins. I don't know about your body, but some of the sensations increased and some new sensations came online. And then roll up. Now your left leg. Take your left leg out toward the side. And now fold, much as we did, over your right leg. Spine flexion. So in my body, I'm feeling some similar sensations as before and some additional sensations. Couple more breaths here. And then rolling up. Both legs back forward. Right leg out. Fold over your left leg. Now remember, symmetry is tremendously overrated. If the two sides of your body feel the same, that's okay. But please don't be too concerned if the two sides feel different. Simply feeling sensations naturally as they are. And rolling up. And both feet back forward. Remember, we were in cross legs? And I observed that I had my left leg in front. So now I'm going to consciously bring my right leg in front. If you're sitting in a chair, this is a moot point. But if you're sitting on the floor or a cushion, change up the leg cross. And I can remember what the other side felt like. This side feels different. And so I can feel my brain starting to try and remedy that or solve a problem that honestly really isn't a problem. And so I practice just feeling the sensations, strengthening proprioceptive awareness. Twist to the first side, to the right, left hand comes across, right hand behind. Feeling whatever you feel. And sometimes when I do my yoga, I don't really do much yoga anymore. But when I do Pilates, I'll sometimes de-emphasize technique and focus mainly on when I do the exercise, what do I feel? A little bit of both can be useful. Back to the middle. Other side. Right hand comes across, left hand behind. And my body turning to this side feels so different. And then back to the middle. And from seated to hands and knees. And full circle how we began. So on your hands and knees, close your eyes if that feels okay. And feel your interaction with the floor through your hands, through your feet, through your knees. Then turn your toes under and move into yoga pose, head down dog. And now a similar inquiry. Whether eyes open or closed, what, if any, sensations do you feel? Then exploring proprioceptive awareness as you move. Step your feet forward. Sensations are constantly streaming from body to brain as you culminate in gorilla. And then slowly, slowly let your head hang, aware of the sensations moment by moment as you fold. And then real-time awareness of your body, sensations in your body as you roll your spine up, all the way up, arms down. Bring your hands on your hips, step your feet apart. So yoga in particular got hijacked by stretching, and the stretching became the thing. But really, in terms of training balance, probably the stretch isn't the most important thing. It's the sensations that accompany stretching. Legs apart, straighten your knees. From your hip sockets, fold. And notice how the sensations real time change. And then at a certain point, you hit a good deal of resistance. Let's park there. Now let your spine contribute, rounding your neck, your upper back, and your lower back. Letting whatever stretch sensations arise basically be proprioception signalers. Roll up, and then step your feet together. Eyes could be open or closed. And take a moment to feel your body. And if you closed your eyes, now open your eyes. And I'm really curious to see where Collette takes all this. So we're going to do a handoff here. We're more familiar with, I think that's the left one.
I think I'm on, people. All right. So that was so soothing, right? I feel like Scott is really good at like bringing you into your body in this very soothing way. Um, so yeah. As I was listening and thinking about where this might go, um, I was noticing the idea of external feedback and internal feedback, and the idea that feeling the hands against the floor and how the floor touches the hand is that sort of external feedback. But then feeling how your body's a little different side to side when you do a twist, so that's more internal feedback, right? So proprioception is involved with, there's a lot involved, and there's also a term called interoception. It's like feeling internally what's going on. Um, so as we go into Pilates, I'm going to use some of those different cues as well of like what's external, what's internal. And you might just notice like what is easier for you to sense and also not overdoing the thing that's harder to sense. We often will be like, oh, I can't feel what's going on in my stomach. I'm going to tighten it to 100% so I can feel it more. As opposed to developing the sense, like giving it a little space and being like, oh, yeah, okay, I got it. But it's just kind of, it's not super intense. That's okay. It should have a range. It should have a volume of sometimes being more intense, sometimes being less intense. And developing the sense instead of like increasing the sensation. So we're going to go down to the floor however you like, and we'll go onto your back. And we'll start with a little bit of both. So hands on your belly, that's that external feedback. And as I breathe, I'm going to be able to feel my abdominals or just my belly in general because my hands are there. And that gives me a certain amount of sensation. So take a couple breaths, notice the movement of your belly. And maybe notice how big an area you might feel. So my hands are pretty big. I can feel the heel of my hand on my hip bone, and then my fingers are touching each other. So I feel like I have a whole sense of my front of my belly as it moves. Now I'm going to take my hands away and see what I sense. And often for me, I sense a little less when my hands come away. Sometimes I get a little panicked about that. Like all I can feel is the lack of sensation instead of the sensation that's still there. So take your hands on your belly again, if you like. Get that sense of how it's moving. And then a trick I sometimes use is to imagine the hands are still there when I take them away. And when I do that, I can feel a lot more internally, just with that image of the external feedback still being there. So however it is for you, just notice whatever movement you notice. Allow it to be at kind of a low volume. Don't have to take a big breath to feel it. Just a little bit of movement. And then we're going to add a little bit more. So as you exhale this time, bring a little tone into your abdominals. So feel them get a little wider, a little engaged, and a little flatter. And then let it go as you inhale. And practice that same thing a few times. You exhale, everything's kind of easy. As you get about midway through the exhale, you feel the belly start to get a little wider, a little flatter, and just some tone. It's not very intense because it's not doing anything, right? You're just kind of isometrically making something happen. Let it go on the inhale, find it on the exhale. Now, another little trick I use if I think, well, I'm trying to do the thing, but I can't really feel anything, is in that moment I have some tone, I just take a couple fingers and touch. And I go, oh, yeah, it is working. And then I have a little more confidence in that sensation when my hands come away. So you can play with how much you want your hands touching things to help you feel, how much you want to play with it without the hands. And then third layer is to keep a little tone in your abdominals and still breathe. So you find the tone on the exhale, you inhale, and you keep some of that tone. The inhale maybe doesn't go into your belly quite as much. It might go into your chest a little more. It may just be kind of a smaller or slower inhale. Don't tighten your neck to do it, just a little bit of tone in your belly. And then let's take that into knee folds. So on your inhale, right leg floats up. On your exhale, right leg floats down. Side to side, inhale, left leg floats up. Exhale, left leg floats down. Side to side. And there's not a certain way it should feel, right? We're developing that awareness. So if you think, I don't know if I'm feeling anything, maybe I'm just imagining it, that's step one of developing awareness. If you think, I feel a little, good, right? I sometimes have to use my hand on my stomach to feel it. Good, step two. Step three is just a sense of like, yeah, it's subtle, and I feel it. I have a sense of it. So we're just tuning that awareness here as you go side to side. One more each side. Both feet on the floor. And relax everything. Okay, extra credit question now. Ask a question to your feet. Are you on the same line? Is one foot forward or back of the other? Are you both pointing forward? Are your heels in line with your sits bones? And then just answer your question to the best of your ability. A lot of times we're wrong. It's okay. I'm wrong all the time too. But just like ask the question, see, what do you feel? Do they feel lined up with your sits bones with each other, pointing forward? And if not, make a little adjustment to make them feel that way. And then we're going to do the bridge. You've already done the bridge with Scott. We'll go again with just this sense of feet in the floor, that nice external feedback, and then this more internal subtle feedback of drawing the belly in, creating a little tone as you roll up into your bridge. And then rolling down. And all sorts of other sensations probably that you noticed as well. We're going to start with the feet. We're going to add in a little support with the belly, and then whatever other sensation comes on. As you roll up and coming back down. And one more time, if you want to change it up a bit, take your arms to the ceiling. That gives me a little more sensation of my upper back and my shoulder blades as I roll up. And maybe a little more sensation in my abdominals. All the way down. We're going to take your right leg straight out on the floor, your left leg up, holding the back of your thigh, knee bent. And with an inhale, float your leg up towards the ceiling. And exhale, bending back down. Now, probably the easiest, most accessible thing to feel here is the hamstring for most people as you get straighter and straighter. That's what we all think we should feel. Your hands are on your hamstring on the back of your thigh. And it's what we're often like sort of running towards, like, oh, I want to feel more hamstring. I want to feel more hamstring. So it's okay. But as you keep going a little longer, just start to track what else is there. Sometimes the front of your hip and your quad. Sometimes it's too much quad, but even if you're just doing a completely functional movement, so your quad comes on a little bit, it helps support the knee. Maybe you feel something along your calf or your shin, maybe down to your toes, maybe support in your abdominals, the pelvis, right side, left side. How's that lined up? Taking your leg up and hold it there. Let's add a little toe sensation. Wiggle your toes around a little. Notice how that feels in your foot. And then we'll take your hands away, arms down by your side, feeling your whole lower body, pelvis, belly, all the way through the leg out the toes. Let's draw a circle. Inhale across, exhale around, and back up to center. Inhale across, exhale around and up. Just sensing the whole lower body. And then again, you always have that tool if you want to put your hands on your lower abdominals or your hips, give you a little external feedback. Take them away to have more of that internal feedback. Then reverse it. Sometimes a smaller circle brings more awareness in the more subtle places, right? It spreads out your awareness. Bigger circle for a lot of us is a strong sensation in a couple places. A smaller circle is a lot of sensation. It's just a little more subtle. Bend that knee, take it down to the floor. And again, interoception, relax everything. How do the two legs feel after doing that? Legs together again. Opposite leg comes in, holding the back of your thigh. Find your inhale, leg floats up. Exhale, leg comes down. And take it up and down. And as you do it a few times, you might think, ooh, I want a little more sensation. Instead of more sensation in one place, let your awareness spread out, becoming aware some of the other spaces through the leg, the shin, the foot, the ankle, the lower abdominals, the pelvis, opposite leg. Next time your leg goes up, we'll leave it there. And again, let's do a little toe wiggle. And then let the toes lengthen up to the ceiling. Hands by your side for the leg circles. Inhale across your body first, and then exhale around and back up. Inhaling and exhale round and up. And play with your circle size. Maybe try a little smaller. What do you notice when you go smaller? If you always go small, maybe try a little bigger. And you keep your awareness as you go a little bigger. And take it in reverse. Inhale to start. Exhale. Cross midline, back to center. Last one. And then relaxing your leg down. And interoceptive moment. How do the two legs feel? How does the pelvis feel? How does the weight of the body feel? And then, however you like, find your way up to sitting. And then let's find your way up to standing. So we'll come over onto hands and feet, extending the legs. And so we're talking about proprioception. We're talking about not using your vision. And also, sometimes a little bit of vision helps you find proprioceptive awareness. So take a look at your feet. Notice them in the floor. And again, maybe move your toes around a little, maybe line your feet up. And then you know, okay, this is where my feet are in space. This is what they look like. They're right under my hips. I'm going to leave them there. I'm going to drop my head and allow my proprioceptive awareness to now say, all right, I'm going to track that. This is feet right under the hips pointing forward. And then rolling up to standing. Let's play with a little balance work. So I know my feet are in place. If I didn't move them, maybe you moved yours. And if you did, well, then let's take the extra credit challenge again, right? Like put them back underneath you, what feels in place. Maybe take a look down, how'd it go? Take a look back up. Sometimes the simple stuff is very useful. You're going to bend your knees. We're going to shift your weight over to your left side. And then bend and straighten. Right heel is lifted, but toes are down. Because I don't actually want to go into the full balance right away. First thing I'm going to do is I bend and straighten my leg. Proprioception. What's it going to be like to stand on this leg? Bend your knee. There's my foot. There's that tone in my belly. Let me pull all that together. See what that's like. A lot of times we put the hands places. We're trying to fix things. Oh, am I using my stomach? I need to do more. It's not wrong to put your hands there. It gives you a little feedback. Maybe just a little curious. Like, oh, yeah, oh, that's my hip. All right, that's in place. But not necessarily like pushing and pulling it, trying to make it be a certain way. Leaving your left leg straight, right heel comes to the toes. How's that feel? I'm already a little wobbly on my standing leg. I kind of like that. It's like, oh yeah, okay, I can feel all these tiny little adjustments being made. It's okay though. I can bring my leg up. Find your place. Where does your leg want to go? How high does it want to come? Want to stay a little lower? Want to put your toes on the floor? Do you want to bring it up? Hand to your knee or hand under your leg? We just did this lying on your back, right? Now we do it standing. Coming back to both feet. Let's see if we can find toes forward, parallel, feet right under the hips. I'm going to check it out. All right, I did okay. I was not sure that I would. How'd you do? Take your weight to the other side. Opposite heel lift, bending and straightening. Right knee forward as it bends. Foot, knee, hip, rib cage, head, starting to line up. Can I sense that line? leaving the legs straight. I come to the toes. I have to line up a little differently. The leg comes off. I have to line up a little differently. Find your balance. Sometimes I just think, press the foot into the floor. It's helpful. Oh, look. Put your feet back down in line with each other. Bend your knees. Shift your weight to the left. Straighten the leg. Find a balance. Now, I'm going to think of that center line from my head down to my left foot. I'm going to notice it makes tiny little changes as I open the knee out. Little shifts. Again, my toes still be on the floor. You can do it. Bring it back to center. Down to both feet. I didn't know how much I look at my feet. I'm going to not look at my feet. And bend, shift, find the balance, float the leg up. Now, lined up standing side, the knee open. And then back to center and down to both feet. Now I'm going to do a little look. All right, pretty good. Just gives me more information there. Let's work our way down to the floor again. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, coming forward. And then stepping back to downward dog. And coming to your hands and knees. And back into child's pose. And rolling up to sitting. And finishing here. That went like really super fast. I was going to do a couple more things and then I saw my watch on the way down. So, yeah, let's do like 1 minute of lying on your back. Set yourself up here. And again, just close your eyes. Let your body settle. Place your hands where you like them. Do you like that sense of having the hands touching some part of your body? I think sometimes that's very soothing just to have a sense of your body in that way. What's it like to have them on the floor, not touching anything, just aware of your body in that relationship? And there's this idea of a body schema, like the way we perceive ourselves, how we kind of like mentally sense ourselves or draw ourselves. Like, take a moment and just have a sense of your whole body. What parts feel like holes in your awareness? What parts feel really alive? Maybe connect the dots a little bit for a moment as you breathe. Is it the backs of your knees? Is it your second toe? Is your wrist really loud on one side? And just be with those sensations and that awareness. And then letting your eyes open. And however you like, coming up to sitting. All right. Thanks so much for being here. Any questions? All right. So great to be with you today. Hope you're having a good introduction to spring, some nice weather wherever you are, and we'll see you next time.